Hey everyone, John here with a quick news update on Breath of the Wild 2 as some news has been circling saying that the Spanish dub is now complete. Now, game dubs are usually done towards the very end of development, especially multi-language ones. So if this was true, then Breath of the Wild 2 may not be very far off at all. So this came from a Spanish podcast which translates to A Coffee with Nintendo, and they had on both the Spanish voice actors for Zelda and Revali. Now, the Spanish dub being complete was reported on by Game Reactor, but there is nuance to language, especially in a casual conversation, so I reached out to my native Spanish followers and asked them to listen to the interview themselves and give their interpretation. Now, a few of these do differ, but I'll read out how they interpreted it. First up, we have Marta. Yeah, so basically they were asked how hard it is to work without context, and whether they want context or not. Sometimes they do, to do a better job, and sometimes they don't, to not get spoiled. Revali's Spanish voice actor said he didn't have much context for Breath of the Wild, and he was gonna compare working with Part 1 against Part 2, but then said, I don't know if we're allowed to say whether we've worked on Part 2 or not. Then the Zelda dubber says, we're not, even if we haven't. Then here's what Cyburp25 says. They say they are unallowed to say whether they've already dubbed it or not. It may entail that they did already, but they refuse to acknowledge it. Danny says the following, I'm Spanish, and it's not entirely true. It seems that the interview was in a joking tone, and they did not confirm or deny anything. Then we've got X who says, Spanish native speaker here, they don't say that at all, but kind of imply it, I guess. Revali's voice actor is about to say something regarding Breath of the Wild 2, and he immediately stops to say, regarding the second part, which I can't tell you whether we've done voice acting for or not, Zelda's voice actor jumps in and says, we can't say anything, to which Revali's voice actor follows up with, okay, I don't remember doing the voice acting for the second part, okay? I don't remember, while everybody is laughing. And no point do they say that the work is done. But the language they're using and how they all kind of laugh at least implies they started the job. Louise Me says, I'm hearing the podcast right now to verify this because the quote is a bit slim. We'll get back when I hear it. Podcast Nintendron says, no, it's just chit-chat, nothing serious, nothing and no one confirms anything. Louise Me verifies saying, yeah, I reached that part and there's nothing really relevant. And one final translation coming from Eduardo, they don't confirm anything, they're just joking around the secrecy of working on voice acting compared to different types of media, and how this can lead to speculation. They are just saying we might have worked on that, or maybe not. There's a few more translations in the tweet thread, but going off the majority of these, it doesn't seem like the dub is done, and it's uncertain whether it's even started. Especially with that last one from Eduardo, it just kinda sounds like they're joking around about the secrecy of embargoes, rather than outright confirming whether they're working on the games themselves. But all in all, I'd say take this with a big grain of salt. Interviews like this often get taken out of context, and sometimes the interpretation is just different from person to person. Not to say Game Reactor are wrong, but it's just one interpretation of many. So what do you guys think about this? And if you speak Spanish, I'll put a link down to the podcast down below. In addition to my tweet threads, you can read even more about what people are saying, or what's going on in the podcast itself, and you can decide yourself. But until then, thank you for watching, and of course be sure to subscribe to Game Explained for a lot more on Breath of the Wild 2 and other things gaming too. Until next time, bye.